Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. All right, guys. As usual, we want to welcome everybody. Thank you for attending. If you want to tell us where you're tuning in from, we like to always just get a feel for where the room is at. And also, this message, this webinar today, guys, is about personal brand. It's about building your personal brand. And I'd like to first say, if anyone has any difficulties or questions or specifics on it, we want you guys to be active in here, like, participate. It's a smaller meeting room, so we can have active participation. Although, if you do have some sort of background noise or things like that, be sure to leave your microphones off. So, but again, if you guys have questions, things like that, you can raise a hand, you can drop it into the chat. We'd love to answer your questions along the way here, make sure we don't forget them. So, yes, this is good. We're going to jump right into this session today. And today's session is about building your personal brand, developing and enacting your personal brand to help grow your business in the long term. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this first slide, because what is personal branding, right? We always do this. It's a good thing. What is it and what it is not? Because there's a lot of actually confusion around these two things. So Rob, take it away.
Yeah, so what we got going on here is when you think about authenticity, you always want to think about what makes up you. That's what we're all about at Dubb. We've mentioned that, we've evangelized it since day one. And when you think about personal branding, what's the most important word in that phrase? Personal, who you are. So you don't want to create this super polished version of you that is almost like the, when you're really Clark Kent and then you've got Superman out there into the world. You're showing people something that's inauthentic if you're trying to be something that you're not. We talk about that a lot, where if you see certain people in their branding, you might think that branding, oh, that branding is really cool. I like what they did there. You can always take things from people in terms of, really admiring what they're doing. And you can learn from people, but you've got to bring yourself out when it comes to the branding, because there's only one of you. So that's what you need to lean into. Now, what it is really just you understanding what's made you up. I mean, all of us have experiences in our lives that have shaped us to where we are now, how we communicate, how we follow up, how we converse with one another, how we reach out, points that are important to us, points that are important to other people. So it's really about those experiences, those life and work and living experiences, and our skill sets. And at the end of the day, the value that drives all of us, that's going to differentiate us when someone checks things out. Like, whoa, okay, I know Rob stands for this. I know he's into this. I know this is what he talks about. Okay, that's specific. I'm not trying to be another person, because guess what? That's someone else's brand. So at the end of the day, you can learn from a lot of different people, but you've got to take yourself, the authentic, real, raw, organic you, nothing added, and bring that out into the world for your branding. And that's what people connect to.
Absolutely. And so there's a common overlap or a common misconception there. It's like, what is it? Is it just what you put out on social? Yes and no. The information you put out on social media is part of your personal brand, but that does not define you, right? The way that you act, your behaviors, the things that you do outside of social media that influence your business are also part of your personal brand. Like, let's take, for example, a real estate agent that does volunteer work. That becomes part of their personal brand, part of their identifier, and that will help them earn trust and win new business. So the personal branding, a lot of people think it's just the very front-facing stuff, right? Just the stuff you post on social media. And while that is true, that is part of your personal brand, again, there's more to it than that. The idea of establishing your personal brand, guys, is making sure that your branding is working for you. It's helping to grow your business. That's why we're establishing this brand, because the way that the marketplace works today, people aren't connecting to logos, right? They're not connecting to Pepsi. They're connecting to individuals. And that's why you'll see these individuals, these little micro influencers, they'll have more traffic and views and followers than some of these very extremely large brands. Like, you guys know the Liquid Death. It's this water. It's literally just canned water. And they have a better following, better social media than like Aquafina and all these other giant water companies that have been around forever. And that's because of their personal brand. They've really taken a market share by identifying themselves uniquely. So that's why our personal branding can really supersede what we just put out on social. It can help us be bigger than we are. And the whole point of developing your personal brand is to help feed your business. So many of us are in different things, doing different sort of stuff, but what you put out for clients and people to see is going to help develop your personal brand, which ultimately is designed to drive growth in your business. Now, I've seen a lot of people make this disconnect where their brand is one thing, right? What they're trying to do in their business is one thing, but what they're actually putting out is something completely else. For example, they are a professional in a professional service, providing a service that's very important and technical, like a real estate agent or something like that. But all the content that they put out there is something else. It's something maybe controversial, or it's maybe something that is debatable or just for laughs and things like that. And if that's everything that you're putting out there, that becomes what people define you as. So again, if you're a professional like a tax accountant or something, and all the content you're putting out is sort of just like controversial topics of how you feel about politics and things like that, it could help your personal branding by leading those people that feel the same politically with you, but it could also alienate a large part of your audience by just showing, oh, this guy's way too political, he's way too personal, I want to deal with a professional. So again, what you're putting out there, what you're developing is designed to help feed your brand. It's not meant to take away from it. It's meant to help your brand grow, help your business grow. So having these two things in alignment is extremely important. The steps to actually define what personal branding is, we have a couple of these things listed here. And the very first part of it is defining what it is. What is your brand? Who are you? What are you trying to represent yourself as? And then actually becoming an expert in that. Now, we don't recommend trying to become an expert in something that you're not yet, unless you're starting a brand new business, then more power to you. But the idea with this is to do the thing you're already doing. Like if you're a real estate agent, a digital marketer, some type of professional service, hopefully you're an expert in this area already. And if not, you should be doing a lot of homework to become that expert. Now, defining your personal brand as that expert in your industry. So are you, like, again, just use the example for real estate. Are you a buyer's agent? Are you a seller's agent? Are you an agent that works with specific types of audience? Are you just a valued member of your community that's providing value through real estate, right? Defining what your brand is extremely important, because that's the first step. You have to first know, what is your mission statement? What are you trying to accomplish? What does your brand stand for? And without that clarity and without that purpose, none of these other things make sense. So let's take an example of Dubb here. What is our brand? Our brand is to empower professionals with video. Now, are we an expert there? Absolutely. We've spent 5+ years in the trenches doing this every single day. So we are the expert in this persona, in this brand, and that's how we define ourselves. Every single place that you look, you'll find the same definition for what Dubb is about. Now, number 2, establishing a presence. This is not a one-time thing. This is a long-term goal. This is activities that are happening on an ongoing basis. So establishing a presence is building your social networks, setting up a website, putting content out on social, or even physical things. Like, again, if you're a real estate agent, that's your park bench ad. That's your other forms of advertisements. So establishing a presence is simply making your brand, your mission known to others. And there's 1,000 channels for this, right? You can call people, you can text them, you can email them, you could put it on social, you can advertise. All those are methods of establishing your presence. And in fact, we do all of these, and we recommend that you do all of them. So you have your social media channels established and defined and branded. Then you have your marketing, which is reaching out to your leads and prospects and clients, where it's also reinforcing your brand and your presence. And then, of course, eventually a lot of people are going to move to advertising because it's a powerful way to get new business. And so across those channels, your social, your email marketing networks, email or text, right? Your direct marketing, and then advertising. Those are all methods to establish your presence across everything that you do. And now generating brand awareness through networking, that's really sort of hand in hand with the previous one. Through networking, you're able to tap into other people's networks, and then you can become known as the expert through other people's networks. So again, that's sort of separate from the regular email, social, because now we're tapping into other people's networks to establish our brand there as well. This next one, the 3 C's, we don't know what those are yet. That's coming up. But remembering the 3 C's, that's going to be a big part of that first one, defining your brand. So we'll come back to that one in just a moment. And this last part of getting feedback, this is something that people often shy away from. You know, like you close the deal and then you're like, okay, on to the next one. But we need to be in communication with people that have done business with us, people that have interacted with us, because they're going to have an impression of what your business and your personal brand is. And you really want to make sure that's in alignment with the service that you're delivering. So getting feedback from people that have actually gone through your process is just as important, because they've seen your branding, they've dealt with you as a professional, and now you can confirm with those things, are these in alignment? Was there something that I did that could have been better done? Was there some way that I could have improved? And they say, well, yeah, you could have done this or that. Or what did you like best, right? Getting feedback from your clients is going to help you understand if your branding, if your personal messaging is consistent with your service, because those are all part of your personal brand as well. How you actually deliver your business, your goods, your services is a definition of your branding as well. These are the 3 C's. Somehow that C got moved out of place. The first one, we can't fix that in real time, so don't worry about it, Ina. This C is supposed to be over to the left around the D. It's actually covering the first 2 C's. The first C is clarity. This clarity is what I was talking about before, guys. Having a clear understanding of what your branding, what your message is the very first point. And so like for us, we speak to a lot of people, right? A lot of different types of people. Where do we find our best success? When speaking to people in sales, because they need to develop relationships. And this is where our tool is most effective. So we developed our message, our clarity, our personal branding to communicate toward people that are looking to build relationships, particularly people in sales. So understanding that clarity of who you're helping, what you're all about, that needs to be first and foremost before you can do anything else. That's why on the previous thing, defining your personal brand, defining what you actually are doing and standing for is always that first step. This second bullet here, the 3 C's again, consistency. The third one is going to be constancy, and these are often confused. Constancy and consistency, there's a big difference between them, and I'll explain sort of why one works without the other. Consistency means doing this consistently. Like with Dubb, we are consistently posting content on social, on YouTube. We're consistently sending messages. We're consistently putting our brand and our awareness out there. This is an everyday activity. Every single day, we're doing something to represent our brand to the internet, to the world, right? So this is across all those methods I mentioned. We're sending emails every day. We're posting to social every day. We're doing the things that need to be done every single day. Now, for some of you, this may not be an every single day task. Maybe your posting to social is bi-weekly or whatever. But having these actions, having the plan, and having consistency in those actions is very important, because when you're not consistent, none of the algorithms are going to benefit you. None of the social media channels are going to like you. And even across email, your clients aren't going to remember you. You have to show up consistently so that you're top of mind, so that your brand awareness is the first thing that they're going to remember when they need a service or product or good like yours. So clarity is the first thing, defining your message, consistently displaying that message, consistently marketing and putting that message out there. Now, this third one, again, it's covered, unfortunately, but the third is constancy. And now there's an important difference between consistency and constancy, because consistency means doing something consistently, right, on a regular basis. Now, constancy means you're going to remain the same. You're the reliable, dependable person that you've defined in your personal branding. So let's give an example of a different one of these. You can be consistent, meaning you're messaging every day, you're posting something to social every day, you're doing something every day, but you can be consistent without having constancy. Let's say day one, you post something as your real estate agent. Hey guys, here's how to increase the value of your home. But then the next day, you're posting something just nothing related to real estate, right? Nothing related to who your personal brand is defined and standing for. That would be an example of you're consistent because you're putting yourself out there on a regular basis, but the constancy is not an element there where you're not the same person you were yesterday. You're not representing yourself in the same way that you did across your other messages and posts and content. So that's why both of those are listed, and they're both extremely important. Being consistent, but then also having constancy in your messaging. This is across everything. So if you have one website, one social media page, and emails, your branding, your messaging, all of that should be both consistent, meaning all the time, and have constancy where it's the same message in each of those opportunities. So whether you're showing up in person or it's an email or a social post, people should have that same exact message from what you're putting out there. Now, I'll take myself as a perfect example of this. I do a pretty good job of doing these three things. My message is very clear. I know exactly who I'm helping. I know exactly how I'm helping them. Consistency, I'm here every day, right? You guys know that. I'm in the live trainings every single day. I'm here every day. And constancy, I'm constantly reinforcing those same beliefs, those same principles that we stand for, that we can help, and the same type of messaging and beliefs that we believe in terms of our product and our service and software and stuff like that. So those 3 C's need to be the elements of your personal brand. First, define it, then be consistent, and don't change, right? You got to be that same person showing up to your meetings, saying how you are who you say you are. So you can only see 2 of them, but the 3 C's are there. Okay, next slide. How do we start building personal branding, guys? This is a big question. There's a couple of ones that aren't actually listed here, which I'm going to start with, which I actually already mentioned, which is the very first steps: defining your brand, defining what you are, clarifying that message. That's, again, clarifying who you're talking to. And then what do you actually do with that message once you have it defined? You need to place this everywhere it could possibly belong: on your social media, in your email signatures, on your websites, of course, anywhere that you are showing up in a digital form or physical form. We need to have that same clear, defined message a part of that. I was actually at a leadership event last week with like 100+ leaders of brokerages. They were regional broker owners and were in charge of hundreds or even thousands of agents. So in this room full of leadership people, this was exactly the same message they had for all of their agents and their brokers as well, which is to be consistent in your messaging, to have constancy in your delivery. Like, you're not going to be known as the flaky agent or the person that didn't show up or the person that tried to have someone else do this thing, right? This is about being those 3 C's: understanding your message and delivering it with consistency and clarity. Now, where does Dubb come into this? Video is by far the most engaged form of content on the internet. Whether it's in social or email or text or any form, video is by far the most popular method of consumption right now. And that's only increasing. The amount of video people are consuming is increasing exponentially on a month-to-month basis. So this is why we want to take advantage of this now. We want to get good at video now because this is where the future is trending. And it also is the most impactful form of content we can create. So finding your voice, finding your personal brand in a video form is also this first step here. So after we've defined the brand, you understand who you are, what your message is, who you're helping. You've posted that everywhere for people to see in your social media, on your websites, things like that. And now we're going to go about developing content that's going to go out into the world that are going to tell more people about your personal brand, more people about how you can help them. And video, again, is the most impactful way to do that. So finding the types of videos that you should create is this first step when it comes to building a personal brand through video. This can be on any number of channels, guys. This can be through YouTube, through TikTok, through Instagram, whatever your preferred method of social is. But then there's also your sphere of influence, reaching out to the people that are already in your business. Again, if there's some of our real estate people here, 75% of your business is going to come from past clients. It's going to come from your sphere of influence. So tapping into that is equally as important as bringing up to this new audience. So this first step, again, of building a personal brand with video is deciding on the form of content you want to create. For most of us, there's going to be a couple different forms. There's going to be the one-to-one message where you're showing up saying you are who you say you are constantly, consistently. That's direct messaging. Then there's your social content, the content that's being delivered to everyone, not any one specifically. Understanding a form of messaging that's going to work for you is extremely important here. If you actually go check out some of our socials, we have a couple different forms of content. We have our YouTube content. That is the Rev Show mostly right now with Rob and Ruben in a setting, in a little studio, creating long form content that's educating people on how to increase their sales and marketing. So that's one form. But again, the clarity is there. The consistency and the constancy are all still in that form of content, but it's a different shape, right? It's horizontal with two people in a studio versus look what we put on maybe say Instagram. Maybe it's more of the vertical format with Rob or Ruben there. And again, the same clarity, the constancy, the consistency is all there. Although it's a different form of content. It's vertical on Instagram versus horizontal on YouTube. Now, not every channel is for every person, guys. I'm not saying, oh, you have to have a YouTube, you have to have an Instagram, you have to have this. In fact, I recommend only really focusing on one or two channels because bandwidth is a real factor, guys. You can't simply invest all your time and resources into every channel. So find the one that you're most comfortable with. Find the one that works best with you. Is it YouTube? Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Whatever that channel is, maybe one or two at most, that's where the majority of your focus wants to be. And so when this first line, finding an appealing form of video, that has several meanings. One is, what's the channel you're on? What are the channels? YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. Finding the form of content you want to create. Is it a talking head? Is it just you speaking to your audience? Is it you sharing informational bites like a screen share? Is it sharing articles and information that are showing that you're an expert in doing research in your field, right? Finding the type of content that you can share with constancy and consistency. Those are super important because if it's one thing that you have this really great idea and it's the only great idea you ever had in that field, good, that's an appealing form of video, but can you do that constantly? Can you show up with constancy with that form of content? So finding something that you can actually do repeatably is a super important step of this. Because if you're setting yourself up where I need to do hour-long YouTube videos and you just simply can't get an hour-long YouTube video out there, that is not going to work for you, right? So finding the form that does work for you is of the utmost importance. Just a little quick pause, guys. Does anyone have their form of content that they prefer? Does any one of you guys here now have a form? Have you identified the form of content that you prefer, whether it's YouTube or one-to-one messaging or TikTok or social? Because this is a step that each one of us should be defining right now. If you don't already know it, this is a great time to start thinking about that. What is my preferred channel? What is the type of videos that I'm going to be creating? So if anyone has an idea right now, wants to toss it in the chat, or if anyone does not. So, okay, Mike, not yet. That's good. But now's the time to start thinking about that. This is planting that seed for finding out which method you actually prefer to use. And, I recommend the one that you spend the most time on. So if you're spending the most time in Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, that's probably going to be your best channel because you're already there. You're already spending your time there. You're already familiar with the format. You're already following some people likely that you're inspired by. So appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, not yet. Anybody else? I mean, I know you guys are all somewhere with this. So you either have chosen your preferred channel or not. So take the time to do that. After this meeting, put some thought into this, guys, because every single person that has defined a strategy and uses it regularly, we actually did this on social selling last time. The numbers speak for themselves. It's like people that use a CRM that people that don't use a CRM. The numbers are out. The verdict is out. These people are going to perform better. The people that have clarity and consistency and constancy in their personal branding are going to perform better than those that don't have a defined personal brand. Look at all the most successful people in any vertical. Their personal brand is going to be very clearly defined. So take that time, guys. Like I said, if it's not now, right after this, that's your homework. What's your channel? Okay. A couple of these guys are overlapping, like using your experience, understanding your audience, clarifying who you're talking to, making your communication is clear. Those are really the same. That's all in the same group. So understanding that audience and your messaging that was right in clarity. So these are sort of overlap. A lot of this is repeated information, guys, because it all comes back to those first couple things. Understanding who you are, sharing that message, and doing it consistently all the time. Your story defines your brand, right? Like our story, we have a tech background. We had this video need. We were both in a place where we needed this. We built this tech and succeeded with it. So our story helps define who we are in our brand. Unique content, that's exactly what we were just talking about, guys. Creating this form of content after you've found the channel that works. All right, next one. Nathan, I appreciate that. Sorry, Rob. Nathan said, I had success building up an Instagram with some high quality photos. Excellent. But now I'm struggling to transition to video. So what was the element within the photo that was bringing people to you? And if you're finding that photos are working better on Instagram for your audience, then, and if it was easier for you, then that's a channel that you're going to want to take advantage of. I'm going to show you guys after this. There's a second step after we've begin putting our social or putting our branding out there, after we've defined and we begin this process. There's going to be some technology that we're going to use to turn these things that we're generating, the branding that we're imparting into people, into leads and prospects and business. So that's how this whole thing is going to tie together. The first part is how to define your brand, how to go about creating it and sharing it. And then the next part is going to be how to take that personal branding and drive revenue with it. So Nathan, appreciate that. Had some success before with images, but now struggling with video. This is that early message that we defined. When you understand your audience, you understand their pain point, and you understand your value proposition, that's really going to help define the content that you create. Because you understand, here's their problem, here's my audience's problem, and here's how I can help that problem. And now I'm going to create content that bridges those two things. And that's how you're going to speak to those people with your branding in line of what you're doing. So thank you for that input, Nathan. Okay, Rob, take it away. This is the process, guys. This is actually what I was just defining, the process of taking your branding and turning it into actions and appointments.
Nice, there's yeah, and Nathan too. Like, if you're trying to make that transition from images to video, you could even do something where you have an image of something, a beautiful photograph that you have, and use the mobile app that we have. Use your phone and just move the camera around your phone camera a little bit from the image. It's like a moving video. Maybe add a little music to it or something like that. And put it in your reels to get it going there. It might help with that transition from the photos that people are used to seeing the videos. It's almost like a little moving photo that you've created, something like that. But thanks for sharing that. All right. So the biggest thing is we talk about at Dubb is CTAs, calls to action, calls to action, calls to action. The worst thing you want to do is have a video out there, something out there of yours that's of interest to someone, and they see it, and then they have no way of doing anything after. It's like seeing something, okay, what do I do now? That's why calls to action are so important. So you just need to decide in your mind when you're putting your content out there, especially with personal branding, what do you want people to do when they see your content? What's the number one thing you want them to do? What's the number two thing you want them to do? What's the number three thing you want them to do? Good to have a top three and have that out there across all your channels. Do you want to feed them into a website? Do you want to get a little form fill so you're able to respond back to them? Do you want to take them to a certain documentation that you want to show them? Do you want to lead them into another video? Do you want to chat with them? So there are all these things that you need to think about when you're putting your personal branding out there across your content. What do you want that person to do once they've been able to kind of lock in to what you are putting out into the world? The other thing is when it comes to CTAs, you want to be able to make sure that you have a preset created first. It's something Darius and Ruben talk about all the time. Set it and forget it. Create your preset. And a little, what is a preset? Most people here have Dubb and know what that is. It's you're basically your customized landing page. It's got your logo, it's got an image there, it's got playlist videos, it's got call to action buttons, it's got calendar integrations. It's a beautifully aesthetic thing that you've set up for a very specific reason. That's why we talk about all the time. Have a preset that speaks to your niche. Who's your audience? Who are you talking to? Who's tuning into your social media? Who's watching your videos? Who's paying attention to what you're talking about? Have presets segmented for those people. And then when you have the preset set up, you want to make sure you have the right calls to action. If you're in real estate as an example, you have the buyers and sellers. You want to have call to actions that speak to both those crowds. If you have something within the sales process, the nurturing, the follow-up, the initial prospecting, those are all different kinds of things. Getting testimonials is something we talk about all the time. So when you're creating your content out there, just keep in mind, whatever content they're watching, there might be a different call to action to do something for that content. So think about that when you're setting up your presets. The other thing is too, when you can have video, and like Darius has mentioned before, video across every metric just performs amazingly well in terms of connection. Think about your video signature. Have a video in there. Why not? Right? Have a video. When you're thinking about something that's text-based, use the technology to have it to make it video-based. Whether it's a quick little message, a quick smile, talking about something, that makes a difference in terms of building that trust and something that someone's going to remember. The biggest thing you want when you do videos in general is to have that impactful communication. Someone watches it, whether it's on social media through email or SMS, and they're like, wow, that was really cool. Someone actually just spoke to me. That was neat. I don't really see that a lot. That's very cool. And they'll remember that and they'll respond most of the time. The other thing you want to really make sure is when you're doing this social content, you have your social bio link on Dubb. So within your Dubb dashboard, you can create that. And that's an area where if someone wants to know more about you, they click that link, it takes them right there, and they can learn more about you. Today, you have to be omni-channel, across all the different areas. Think about it almost like Dubb Omni. You're out there, you're on socials, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok. You're across the spectrum in terms of putting your digital footprint out there so people can track you down and find out, okay, great. I saw this video about you on YouTube. Fantastic. What do I do now? Oh, let me go to that link and let me get more. Let me fill out a form. Let me learn more about you. Let me watch another video. Make sure that it takes them somewhere that continues the story. The last thing you want is for a video to stop, whatever platform it's on, and there's nothing else for someone to do. That's not what you want. So make sure you get that configured. Also, you want to think about a QR code. Whenever we've done events out there, we've always had our QR code stuff there because it's always nice for someone to, even in the physical space, when you meet with someone in person, you grab your phone and say, listen, just, take a picture of this QR code right here. You'll get all the information that you need. In fact, when they click on that QR code, it's going to take them somewhere where they can take an additional step, where they fill out that form, they watch another video, they book a time with you, all these actionable things. Because if you hand someone a business card and say, hey, listen, my website address is on there, make sure you have the QR code. It's one of the most important things you can do, especially in real estate. Someone's at an open house, checking out, boom, hit the QR code. If you're at events and you're meeting new people, it's one of the most convenient things you can do to give them the information that they want right away. Because a lot of times, especially if you're at an event, you're meeting someone, you could be meeting multiple people at the same time. Hi, how are you? boom, have a QR code set up. They can get all that information. So by the time you actually do get to speak with them, they're pretty informed on quite a few things, and they might actually have quite a few questions as well. You can also have them in your Zoom meetings, which is great. You're having a Zoom meeting, have that QR code in there so people can click on that and be taken somewhere immediately. Because in general, we're a pretty impatient world, which is good and bad in some cases. But in this case, you want to make it as convenient as you can for the other person. So that's what we're all about with the tech. We want to make it easier for you, and we want to make it easier for the other person. And that's going to help smooth things along, especially in the sales cycle. The other thing is, when you're talking about making content for social media, we've done a few videos about this in the past. In fact, there's one on YouTube, how to create 30 videos in one afternoon. And the biggest thing there is about batch recording. So if you're thinking about doing social media videos, think about what's convenient for you. Are you more of a batch person? Are you more of a person that's going to do a couple each day? What's the editing situation? Do you like editing your stuff yourself? You're going to kind of, put that out to someone else, for someone on Fiverr, or maybe someone you want to have on your team that could do that. These are all just structural things that you want to kind of have in place. But from a basic perspective, you always want to have in your mind, you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. You want to know yourself, and you want to know what will work best for you. And then you lean into the content creation once you've created that parameter. Now, the content creation, something we talk about all the time, is Ira, right on our dashboard. Ira, that's our AI assistant, and it's been segmented really neat. Ruben and Darius did a great job on this, where they set it up where you can put in your industry, you can put in the tone of the writing that you want in there. Is it going to be humorous, friendly? You have all this ability to control the word count. You can brainstorm ideas. You can do all kinds of things. But the key to using this is, okay, I got 30 videos I want to create. What's the first one? Oh, well, I'm not too sure. Let me think. Okay, I kind of have a concept. Put that into Ira, and it will flesh out that concept. Like, maybe I want to do a video on how to, how to increase the value of my home. If I'm in real estate, I want to do that. Put that in there. It'll give you a lot of information. Be as specific as you can. And then if you keep hitting compose, it'll get you more and more ideas. Once the AI has given you that, then you make it your own. It goes from AI to HI, artificial intelligence to human intelligence. You have to make it your own. Personal branding, which is what this is all about. You don't want to just copy and paste something. You have to convert it into what you are and what you stand for. That is by far the most important step. Otherwise, it's just copy and pasting, and that is not personal branding. The other thing is, too, once you have the scripts locked, right? You've given it the HI pass, save it into scripts, into Dubb, save it into scripts. And then we highly recommend using the teleprompter. The teleprompter is one of the best ways you can be absolutely efficient when you're creating this social media content. If you take the time, you're writing it in your own words in terms of how you speak. This is how you would speak. You load it into the teleprompter, and the teleprompters, they're amazing. We have auto scroll, we have auto track. So if you're on the mobile app, you can choose to have your script loaded in there, and you can do auto track, where you start talking, the script starts being highlighted, you stop talking, guess what? It stops moving. You start speaking again, starts going again. Or you can do auto scroll, where it just continues to scroll. The best practices, we've talked about this before, have about a distance of about here. If you're using the webcam, this distance here is pretty good. If you're on the mobile app, you can be even closer. Mobile app is really good. Looks like you're looking right at the camera, whether you go vertical for social media or you go horizontal for some YouTube stuff if you want to do a little longer form content. So lean into the efficiency of using Ira to get you going, give it the HI pass, write the scripts, put them into scripts, and then you can actually load them right into the teleprompter. One of the biggest things that we recommend too, if you're looking to do batch recording, think about doing some shorts. YouTube shorts are big, reels, anything short form content is very, very, very popular right now. So what you can do is you can shoot shorter stuff, script about a minute long, okay, about a minute. And if you do a minute and you want to batch and do 30 of them in an afternoon, you can get that done realistically. You're not doing 30 videos that are like 5 to 10 minutes long. They're only a minute long, all right? So you can do that as well. The other thing too is you can schedule your posting. So whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok, you can schedule these things out. If you have an assistant to do this or you do it yourself, you can schedule it to be posted, or you can post it yourself whenever you want to do it. We find that twice a day is pretty good. You can do it anywhere from 8 a.m. to noon, and then another time from about 3 to 6. And if you want to add an additional one later at night, you're more than welcome to do that as well. The key is you don't want to overwhelm yourself. If you find that batch recording is amazing for you to do, you're leaning into the teleprompter, you're leaning into the tech to make it easier for you to do this, great. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. Do it on a daily basis if you love doing that, but lean into what's comfortable for you and don't change the process once you have it in. Consistency, that's what it's all about, and constancy, like Darius was talking about. You also want to think too about, the different platforms like Darius talked about before in terms of what the algorithms are, what they stand for, what are the rhythms of each platform. Find out which one you're most comfortable with and lean into that. And then you'll start to see hopefully some success doing it. The other thing is too, automated sequences, which Darius is an absolute professor on. These are amazing things that he'll talk about in a little more detail in terms of the outreach and be able to automate a lot of these things. But the last thing I'll say about all this is you definitely want to evangelize yourself as knowing what you're talking about. A lot of people tune into YouTube videos and any other videos for either education or entertainment or both at the same time. So if you jump on there and you're an expert in your field and you make a short video that says, hey, these are the top 3 things that you need to know about consulting in this field, blah, 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 you're the authoritative expert on it. The last thing someone wants to do is pull up a video and have someone say, I kind of know a little bit about this. I'm kind of an amateur on it, but just take 2 minutes and listen to me. No, you want to be the authority. But remember, it comes from a place of authenticity. If you're not an authority in that matter, make yourself an authority. Lean into what you do best. And then also you can promote Dubb as well. If you love Dubb, you're using Dubb. We've had our partner program around a long time. A lot of people ask, hey, how'd you send me that video? Well, this is how I did it. So there you go.
Nice. I know that was a big slide there, guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a moment and share visually a couple of these things. So the first thing is, guys, the preset, because when we're going to be generating, if we follows these 3 C's, we begin implementing our personal branding, we're going to be generating some sort of engagement on these posts. And how we want to follow up with people is we want, again, to be consistent with our branding. We talked about a preset, and I just want to show you guys how this preset is going to work, because and actually, Mike, this was to your point as well. You mentioned, I like one-on-one the best, but the idea of recording dozens of them is daunting. And I want to show you how the preset is going to overcome that issue, Mike. So right here, let's pretend we got a lead. We have somebody that this is a common type of communication where maybe the majority of what I might say is repeatable, and using the technology, we don't have to repeat it. So I'm going to press record here. I'm going to pretend again that I got a lead. I'm going to say, hey, John, got your information. And actually, I wanted to share a video with you that comes right after this. It's going to answer each of your questions and also show you some stuff that you didn't know before. If you like what you see, there's going to be a button below where you can book a time with me and learn even more. So hopefully you found some value in this video coming up, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again. So whatever, very generic what I said there. I just said, hey, check out this video. It's awesome. Let me know what you think. And so the preset, what it does is it's going to add that message there for you. So Mike, instead of needing to repeat yourself every single time you want to do a video for somebody, you can record one video one time. That's the repeatable part of your message. And then you personalize it in 10 seconds right in front of it. So I say, hey, John, check out this video. And then it rolls into the video. We're going to show you how. Now, unless you become very effective at your personal branding and follow these things and do it consistently with constancy for a while, it's going to take time to start building up engagement and lead. It's not like an overnight thing. And so in the beginning, you won't have so many leads. And I recommend following up with each of them personally, because that's going to help build your following. That's going to help build your loyal fans. It's going to help build the people that want to share your content. Imagine if someone saw a post from you and they said, wow, this is so cool. And then they got a personal message from you saying, hey, thanks so much for engaging with my content. I'm glad you found it valuable. If you'd like more information, click below. And then following up with each of your engagements like that. Imagine the followers, imagine the fans that you would have, because that's all this social media thing is about, is engaging with your audience, building people that are interested in what you have to say. So using this preset, following up with leads is 10 seconds a pop, right? hey, John, thanks so much for checking out my content. Here's the next step, right? Here's more information. Here's how you can help. Here's how you can join, learn more, etc. So this preset part is extremely important for you guys. Another thing we talked about were the buttons, the calls to action. This is both physically the buttons on your videos, but also in all the content you're producing. I can't tell you how much I'm frustrated when somebody produces a content that says, oh my God, did you know that this thing is so dangerous? It's so dangerous if you do this thing. Like, it's really unhealthy if you do this thing. But they don't give you an alternative or a call to action or something to do about it. You just know, oh man, this thing is really dangerous. But you don't have an option. You don't have a call to action. So don't create that type of content. Create the content that's going to get people to take action, that's going to grow your business. Remember, again, you know your audience, you know problems that they have, you know your expertise and how it solves those problems. So you're creating content that explains that brings value and light and education to that. So every piece of content that you create is automatically going to be in alignment with your brand and drive these actions that we're looking for. And if it doesn't, then it's not consistent. It doesn't have constancy with the clarity of our personal message. So if your content isn't doing that, then it's not aligned with those 3 C's. So make sure that it does. One or two other ones, the QR code, guys. This should be, if you're doing anything physically or even digitally, having your QR code, like Ruben has there, his main QR code goes to his bio link page. You can see his headshot there on Ina's page. That is an example of personal branding, because that QR code is going to go straight to a page that defines exactly who you are, with a video, with your social handles, with a message, with calls to action. So this QR code is applicable everywhere. And also part of your branding, guys. If you're putting a QR code on your stuff, this shows that, hey, they're doing stuff that other people aren't doing. Not everybody's using QR codes. Not everybody's using video. So by doing that, you're instantly improving your personal brand. You're differentiating yourself and separating yourself from the competition that's out there. So QR code. Okay, this next piece, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about the technology, about how to now take these leads, these engagers, this audience that we're building with our personal brand, and now taking that and driving growth for our business. So going to do that next. Just one more thing, Nathan, there, you said, will this webinar be recorded? Yes, it's recorded now. And got to go to some appointments. We got you, Nathan. We'll be sending the recording to everyone. No worries. Appreciate that, JR. Yeah, no, we try to bring value here, guys. We do diligence. Actually, we've had webinars before on personal branding. So we've had some experts that do courses. They literally train people on this. So a lot of this is from their expertise, as well as the research and stuff that we've done ourselves. So we always try to bring it when we provide these sessions. If you go do your own research on personal branding, you'll find all the same information. We've just compiled it to you into a little power hour. So, okay, here we go, guys. Thank you, Jason. We really appreciate that, brother. We know that if we do these things, because we've seen the growth ourselves, we've seen it happen. We've seen hundreds or even thousands of other people do this successfully. And that's what we want to bring to you guys, like the stuff that's working, the stuff that people are growing their business with. That's what we want to share with you. The last thing we want you to do is to waste your time and spin your wheels doing things that are ineffective in your business. So let's focus on those greatest values that we can. All right. So the first part of this, guys, we talked about defining your personal brand. Who are you? Who are you helping? How are you helping them? Then we talked about being consistent, showing up across the channels that you're most comfortable in. Is that LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, whatever those are? Play to your strengths, but do it consistently and with constancy. So defining your brand, showing up in those places regularly was the first part we discussed. Now, what happens when you start doing this? Well, what happens is you're going to have people engaging, people that are of your audience that are saying, wow, I have this problem. I'd like, to talk to you about this, or I'd like to define, learn more about this product, this solution, this issue, this pain point you brought up. And once that happens, that's the third part. That's what we're going to talk about next. How to follow up with these engagements, how to take action to drive those viewers and audience into customers and clients and referrals. So we have this piece of content out there. it's got a piece of engagement, right? Somebody commented on the piece of engagement. Now we want them to follow up. We want to follow up with them. As I mentioned, anyone that's going to comment on stuff, send them something personal. Take 5 seconds and say, hey, John, thanks so much for engaging with my content. I got another piece I'd like to share with you. Boom, your preset's built. There's your next step. Your buttons are beneath it. So that's why we said defining this preset is the first step in helping your personal brand to grow your business for long-term growth. Getting consistent with following up with your engagers. In fact, the social media platforms all love this. When someone comments on your thing, you got to go re-engage them, comment back. The platforms love that. They're going to show that your content is being engaged with, that it's valuable to their audience. And so they're going to share it to more people. And again, that's still being just consistent and having constancy in your personal branding. Show up and be who you are, who you're going to say you're going to be in those places. So this preset really helps with that because it's all ready to go. And in fact, you guys can even send the same recycled video, like the QR code video. That's your generic introduction video. Having that in your tool belt, ready to launch every single time you get an engagement. That's a process. And then beneath that, of course, you have everything on your business or everything for your business that's going to help drive that action. Is it a calendar? Is it testimonials? Is it a case study, right? What's going to help turn this person who said, hey, this is interesting into, okay, let's talk. Because that's what we need to do. We need to bridge the viewer into a prospect. And the way to do this, ideally, is as automatic as possible. We want the technology to do as much work as we can. The last thing we want to do is have to call and email and manually, do multiple follow-ups for every engager. So this is one I highly recommend. Until you have so much engagement you can't do this, this is a very powerful way to follow up with the people touching your content. Now, like if it's a YouTube comment, obviously you can't send a personal message to them. You don't have their information. But on like Instagram or LinkedIn, you will have that opportunity. So this is that first piece, one-to-one messaging. Now, there's another piece of this, which I want to share with you guys, which is the automatic piece. We've talked about this many previous trainings. I know it's not going to be completely new to most of you guys, but automation, the ability to send emails and other activities automatically while you're asleep, when it's the weekend, when you're on vacation, this is critical to meeting your business goals through personal branding. Because let's face it, you're not on social media or on these places where your personal brand is 24 hours a day. But how nice would it be to when you're on vacation for a week and your personal brand is out there generating leads for you and the technology is still working for you to turn those leads into prospects and into business. So that's what I have here. This is an example of an automatic series of activities that take place when I'm asleep and when I'm on vacation and things like that. This one happens to be a Facebook lead that it started with, but that's actually not important. The fact is that I can take any person that engaged with the content, that clicked a button, that watched a video, that I have their email, any one of those things, and now I can put them into this series of automatic activities. So this is the number one method we have devised and that people are doing for taking people from online, from their personal branding messaging and turning them into clients, which is we need to engage them in a conversation. And instead of doing this manually, like I said, instead of typing and chasing them down manually, automation is the easiest way to do this. So for example, somebody engages with my content on social. Beneath my video, I can have a form that's going to capture, here, let me edit this video. I'll show you guys this in real time. I'm going to add a form that's going to capture their information. So here I'm in my calls to action. I'm just going to type in form. All right, let's just create a new one. That's going to be faster. So you would select a form and then grab one of the forms here. And once that form is created, it's going to be part of your message. And beneath your video is going to be the ability to capture this person's information. So this is a very long form and not one that I recommend for social. Instead, you would have it be very simple, like give me your first name and email, maybe first name, last name, email. Maybe the phone number is optional in case they want to give you a phone number. So once a person fills out a form because they want more information from you, they want to follow you, they want to be part of what you're doing, this is that first step in now turning that person from social media, person from engaging your personal branding into now a qualified lead. So every single piece of content that we have out there, guys, every single thing that we're doing for our personal branding needs to have the ability to take them from someone who looked, someone who watched, someone who liked into a qualified lead. There's a lot of people that can generate a lot of content, but they don't have these things in place to take the likes and the view and the engagement into the qualified business opportunity. So this is all it looks like, guys. It's very simple. It's having a form associated with the content that you're putting out. And this gives people the ability to join your list, to be a part of the tribe, to get more information, right? Whatever you want this button to say. And I do encourage you guys to incentivize people, right? Like take me to the form. I don't recommend your button say that. It should say something more interesting like join the community or get more information or something like that, where you're going to incentivize them to want to give you their information. So that's what this message is. It's going to say, hey, thanks so much for engaging with my message. To get more information, fill out the form below and I'll be in touch with you shortly. Basically, right? Something that's the basic message of what you would say. Of course, you have your own value proposition, your own personal brand and identity, and that's going to be conveyed in this message. And you're going to be saying, hey, thank you so much for engaging with my content. I'm glad you found it valuable. My mission, my purpose is to educate people on this problem and solution. If you'd like to know more about this problem solution, click the form below, get on my list, and I'll be in touch with you shortly. So this is all it is, guys. This is how you're taking engagement, likes, views, comments, and turning them into qualified prospects. This is the first step. Now that we have their information, their email, whatever, or first name, maybe their mobile number, now we're able to take advantage of the technology. So this workflow right here, where it sends them an email and then waits a day or a week or sometime and then sends them another one. This is the type of stuff that you need for converting people that just saw a social post into a client, into a prospective client. It takes 8 to 12 touch points, they say, guys, to convert someone from someone who doesn't know anything about you into someone who wants to do business. People are saying 8 to 12 touch points, and that's been a consistent language for a while. So if they see a social media post from you, they fill the form, they got the video, there's 2. And then they're enrolled into this automation, a drip sequence, where it's going to send them something else informative and then wait some length of time and then something else. So right here, now that we're up to 7 touch points, 1, 2, 3, plus the social, plus the follow-up video, we're on our way to now converting that brand new cold person who never met us into a customer. So this is how we're bridging the gap, guys, between the personal brand and growing your business. It's a combination of those 3 C's: being consistent, understanding your message, and doing it with constancy, and then bridging the technology to actually turn that into business. So I know there's a lot of information again there, guys, and we talk a lot and we try to show a lot, but this is how it's working. If you go to any successful Instagram or YouTube channel that's monetized, that's making money as a successful business, this is what they're doing. They're all going to have that same, the link in bio. You click the link in the bio, it takes you to like a sales page or a landing page where they have something for sale, where they have their mission statement, they have their personal brand clearly articulated with an option to help drive their business. So that's how this whole thing works. And if you, again, just go look at any example of anyone successful doing this, you will see these things in place every single time. Now, okay, there might be some outliers out there that are doing something really weird and they're not selling anything. that's possible, right? But for the most part, we're all professionals in a professional setting looking to drive our business growth. And that's why these same rules are going to apply to us every single time. Find someone in your space who's doing something similar, doing it well, and you will see these same exact things. You know, there's many expressions that say success leaves a trail, right? And so you can go see the very successful things that are already out there and know that, oh, wow, all those things that they said are already here. They're doing all those things. Automation is the only one that I would say most people aren't doing yet because they don't have that skill set. They're unaware of the technology. A lot of people that will go pay experts and then they'll set this stuff up for them. So you have the ability to do it yourself here, guys. One other thing really quick, and then Mary, I'm going to answer your question. We did make an offer for everybody last time that wanted to take advantage of Pro Plus, which is our highest tiered package that allows you to connect with us one-on-one. Let me make sure I'm going to share my screen here. So I did want to make sure that same offer was available to you guys in this session. So here's the main difference between our packages. This is our standard plan, and then we have our Pro Plus plan. The Pro Plus includes that automation, that workflows that I just described, where we're going to be able to follow up with people in our sleep while we're on vacation, etc. And it also includes one-to-one support. So you'll connect with myself in Zoom, and I'm going to help you define and build out this strategy. How often should your emails be sent? How many times? How long are the videos? So that's really the difference between our two plans is Pro, you have all the trainings like we do in these, and Pro Plus, we're going to connect one-on-one. And the offer that we gave to our automation webinar last week was 30% off, basically $29 off. So it's back to our original pricing of $99 per month for that Pro Plus. And so we wanted to make sure it's like, it's not fair. They got the option. Why didn't we? So this is available for you guys as well. Anyone that's looking to work with us more closely and wants to build an automatic workflow, just let us know. You can toss something in the chat, or I'm in, or whatever. We'll follow up with you there with that special opportunity and offer, and you'll connect with me personally. Okay. Let's go here. Jason, right on, buddy. I appreciate that feedback. We really try our hardest here. And Mary, do we portray our branding on our personal Facebook page? I do the 3 C's on my business page only. That's a really great question, Mary. So your personal business page, it depends on how separate that is from the rest of your ecosystem, right? Like I have a lot of like for me personally, I have like a personal Facebook page, and I actually don't post anything. I'm not active on Facebook like that. I'll go on there and wish family members happy birthday and stuff. So if you're not like active in that channel, and if your business isn't seeing you within that channel, and people that might know your business isn't seeing you in that channel, then you might be able to put whatever you want there essentially. But anything that's going to be business facing, that's where you really got to maintain that branding awareness, your personal branding. Now, people might contradict me on that. People might say, no, every message of you should be out there, because then it's contradictory. What if I find your Facebook and you're like this crazy person, and then on LinkedIn, you're like, I'm the most professional. Like that would create a dichotomy. That would create an inconsistency and maybe a distrust, right? So it will depend on the separation of those elements. And like, again, my personal Facebook page is not ever touching the business. So it doesn't have anything related. I don't post anything. So, but if I was posting stuff on there that was a lot discrepant from who I am here, like I'm a crazy, I don't know, Hell's Angel biker or something, right? Like that would not be consistent with my personal brand here. So that's what I would say, Mary. If it's very separate, you can of course be yourself and do what you want to on that. But if it's going to bleed into your business, you need to make sure that there's not conflicting messages there. That's the most important thing. So great question, Mary. All righty. Business prospects and customers can see your personal page, right? Like if they go and search in your name and try to find you, they may. I mean, like Mary Riley, your name's probably pretty common, or somewhat common. There's probably other Mary Rileys out there, so they might find you, might not. My name is not very common, so probably pretty easy to find me out there if you wanted to. But again, if it's not consistent with your message, at least don't have it be conflicting with your message. So like in my case, there's just nothing there. Someone goes to my Facebook, they just see, okay, he's not alive on here. He doesn't post anything. As long as it's not conflicting, that's more important.
Yeah, and they might see some consistencies too. They might say, "Oh yeah, Mary loves talking about this," or I can see her personality in there. So there could be some things that really marry the two together. But like Darius said, if they're not, just as long as they're not, hey, you're a Boston Red Sox fan on your business page and you're a Yankees fan on your other page, you're in trouble.
Right.
So there you go.
Exactly. Good point, Rob. Good example. So again, those 3 C's are everything that people can see about you. Again, I've had some other branding coaches that have said the same thing about every page, every message, and not just online, but the way you carry yourself in person, the way you interact in person, that's your personal brand as well. So, depending on who you're asking, some people might say, no, everything consistent. But like I said, I would be a hypocrite if I said that I did, because I don't post anything on my Facebook, and so it's not super consistent. It says Dubb on there. It's, it says there, but it's not like I'm posting everybody should do video stuff on that channel. I don't post anything there. So, all right, guys. Well, we did it. We made it over the hour. Any questions we have on this piece, please let us know. Come back and talk to us at a later date. If you want to come join the live training and say, hey, I was struggling to define my personal brand, come have a conversation with us. We're here every single weekday at 10 a.m. Anyone can join that session and come talk with us in real time. We always welcome you guys to encourage you to come join that. Continue the discussion every day, dubb.com/T. I'll put it in the chat here. And that's Pacific time. So dubb.com/T is the registration link for that daily live training. It's every single weekday at 10 a.m. So absolutely. And we love for you guys to come and ask questions and engage, because we know that people that are asking questions are thinking, and they're growing, right? They're in that space of uncomfortableness where growth occurs. If you're not asking questions, you know all the answers, you're not growing, right? You're not doing anything. So make sure that you're participating in your business. Be active, be consistent with constancy, and understand your message you're trying to convey. So, all right, guys. Well, we appreciate your time as always. I know we talked a lot this time. There's so much more information to say on this. People do entire courses on this thing. We couldn't obviously do everything in an hour, but we did give you the pieces, all the steps that you need, the elements that are there. And your homework is here also. And you know what that is now, because we had, I don't know, only 1 or 2 people said, yes, I have this clearly defined, or no, not so much. So everyone else, make sure you get that down. Make sure it's so clearly defined. If someone asks you, what's your personal brand? What do you stand for? That should not be like, good question. No, you should have the answer. Like, I stand for empowering people in their businesses to do more effective marketing and sales, to grow their business in a more personal way than they've ever done before, right? Like, that was just off the cuff of my mind, but that's essentially what it is. I want to help people. That's what we're about. So understand your guys' value proposition, your personal brand, and let the world know. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Happy hump day.
Bye, everybody.